Harsh it, my shit. Harsh it. Ooh. No. Get on. Right back on. That's it.
Ouch.
Body. Touch his body. Still harsh his body.
Whoa. Gervonta Tank Davis, guys. I was just watching. Of course, I will leave a link below. Let you guys check out the destructive power of Gervonta Tank Davis in training, in sparring with Ivan Redcash. If you guys don't know Ivan Redcash, he is Mike Tyson Part 2. He went 12 rounds with Danny Garcia, and we know Danny Garcia is a welterweight. Ivan Cash is a welterweight, of course. And Danny Garcia couldn't get him out of there, but Gervonta Tank Davis had this guy wobbling. He was doing the stanky legs. Look, he was limping around like Bambi, people, okay? He was hurt. He was wobbled. He was getting punched 2-3 pieces by Gervonta Tank Davis, okay? Now, before this, Gervonta Tank Davis said, I'm going to go live on Instagram sparring and show you guys what's what with a welterweight, which he did. And he showed this welterweight like, hey, I can bang with you. I can punch. You know, I looked at other channels variations of this and what they had to say, of course. And, you know, a lot of people are like, oh, man, look at the punching power of Gervonta Tank Davis. And he's able to beat these welterweights. And he's able to wobble Ivan Redcash when Danny Garcia himself with his Puerto Rican hammers, his Philly hammers, couldn't even get Ivan Redcash out of there. Okay? But it looks impressive. It is impressive. No doubt about it. But I do want people to understand something about Gervonta Tank Davis. First of all, Gervonta Tank Davis is not out of shape. Okay? The question is, he was never really out of shape. This is the problem with Gervonta Tank Davis. And this sparring match says it all. This confirms it. Listen to me. What do we know about Gervonta Tank Davis? The man went to 135 and couldn't make weight at 135. And everyone's like, you know what? He lacks discipline. You know what it is? It really is. Young as he is. Hold on. Let's see. Hold on. Let me see. How old is Gervonta Tank Davis?
Gervonta Davis is 25 years old.
25 years old. Okay. You know what that tells us? He's in the wrong weight class. That's what it tells us. So a lot of times people are, man, it looks really good fighting these guys that are much bigger than him or not even bigger than him in a weight class unlike the one he fights at. He's fighting Leo Santa Cruz at 130. Okay? We don't know how much he weighs in this sparring session. He might weigh 150. He might be bigger than Ivan Redcash. He's just short. It's a lot of short welterweights, i.e. Sean Porter, Manny Pacquiao. Come on now. It's a lot of short welterweights, okay? So that happens. You know, Gervonta Tank Davis is not fighting at the right weight. You know, and I used to think it was lack of discipline, but now seeing what I'm seeing, the man has punching power, and if he can do that to Ivan Redcash and knock him around the ring, make Ivan Redcash make him clinch and hold for dear life and survival, you know what that means? That means he can get his ass up to 147 and fight those guys up there and become a star. That's if he's allowed to. Remember, he's a PBC money Mayweather fighter, okay? Mayweather team. He's on he's signed by Mayweather, so Mayweather promotion has him. So that's if they will allow him to make that type of risk, which I doubt. Because Al Heyman controls it all. It's all under his umbrella anyway. But at the end of the day, he's showing you, without a shadow of a doubt, that not only that he can hit, we always know he had the power. We always know he could punch. We all know he had skills. But he's showing us that a game welterweight was getting hurt by him. What does that mean? That means that you need to consider overlooking 135, overlooking 140, maybe 140, he could go there. But at 147, he's fighting at the wrong weight class. He's not able to make the weight, and maybe it's time for his body to acclimate somewhere it needs to really be in the first place. Okay? Prime example I think about is Vinny Pazienza. You remember him? He used to fight at 140, kill himself to make 140. He thought that was the weight that he needed to be. Okay? Until he came in heavier and was knocking out middleweights, then all of a sudden he's fighting at 160. That's what happens sometimes. A person's body is, you know, even though you have this next guy or these projected opponents, which I don't think he was going to fight anyway. Let's be real. You know what I mean? You know, Lomachenko and you got Garcia over there. You got Haney. You got a lot of fighters that he could fight, but he ain't fought. Okay. But knowing and seeing what I see, I'm convinced that Gervonta Tank Davis not only can hold his own at 147, I think that's where he belongs. It looks impressive seeing a guy that fought at 135. But what wasn't impressive, he went 12 rounds with a 38-year-old. So if you want to blast or want to praise Deontay Wilder for wobbling a guy in sparring, and then, oh, Danny Garcia couldn't even knock him out. Well, hey, at least Ivan Redcash was a game welterweight. He was holding on for dear life. He was getting that ass whooped. I could hear the thud in those punches. This man was getting racked. Gervonta Tank Davis was putting in work, and it might have been because he's still pissed off at Floyd, you know, spending time to train his rival, his opponent, or his future opponent, Devin Haney. That might have something to do with it. I think he's still butthurt about that situation. Okay. But Ivan Redcash, he showed you what he can do with a welterweight, and I say let him have it. If he wants to be another Floyd, if he wants to be anywhere near Floyd, Manny Pacquiao, those guys, there were much smaller guys that moved up in weight, and because of their speed, their size, and their greatness, they could do that. The question is, can Gervonta Tank Davis do that? I know it's levels to this, you know, so, you know, I'm not saying just go right away, but he could, because he's showing us that, hey, I can compete up there. You know what I mean? So maybe you're missing all these weight limits, okay? Maybe you need to go to another weight. That's what it tells me, without a shadow of a doubt. Nonetheless, it did look impressive. Gervonta Tank Davis can crack. He was beating this dude up, and he had headgear on. Imagine if he didn't. The guy was they probably would have stopped it by the way Gervonta Tank Davis was beating him. And mind you, sparring is brutal. You heard of the doghouse? That's brutal. Okay? And just because you have headgear on don't necessarily mean you're not taking punishment. Okay, you're taking punishment, but, you know, it's probably worse because there ain't a ref that's going to step in there in a sparring session. You're just going to continue getting beat. And that's exactly what Ivan Redcash was going through. Okay? But again, Gervonta Tank Davis looked great. He looked good. He looked sharp. And I think he needs to go to 147. That's my Counterpunch. You guys tell me what you think. Of course, please subscribe. And you guys been Counterpunch. Peace.